Mr. Chairman, we are streaming live and recording on Zoom. You may begin when you're ready.
Good morning and welcome to the April 29th, 2025 Quality Assurance Task Force meeting. I'd like to call this meeting to order. My name is Wayne Olson, Chair of the QATF. I'd like to ask Mr. Rob Gills to please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance this morning.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Gills. I want to remind all members that this meeting and all future meetings are held in person, and it is important for all members to be here in order for us to have a quorum. Members of the public are still able to participate virtually, and we encourage them to do so. I'd also ask members to please be sure to activate your microphone before speaking and deactivate it after your remarks. This will help ensure that everyone is able to be heard by those in the room and online. I'll ask Ms. Whittington to take us through our agenda review and share any announcements.
Okay, well, good morning, Mr. Chair and members, and those of you who are joining us in the room and online. There was a correction that was made to your agenda. We recognized a typo that has been since corrected under action item A. Column 2 should read fiscal year 25-26. There was a typo there that carried over. And Mr. Chair, there will be no presenter for that item. It has been reviewed and approved by the Commission for Transportation Disadvantaged Area Project Manager. So that item is presented for approval. The next two items, item B and C, will be presented by Mr. Cody Johnson. That is the Human Services Transportation Plan and the update to the Transportation Disadvantaged System, Service Plan, the minor update to that. So Mr. Johnson is here and he will be presenting on both of those. I want to say thank you to all of you who participated in the CTC evaluation. In the interest of your time today and not having to sit through this presentation twice, I'm recommending that that item be postponed to the full LCB agenda. Now, if you are a glutton for punishment and you just insist on wanting to see it twice, I'm prepared to present today. But I see Marilyn's head saying, no, we can skip it. But we will present that to the full LCB. And speaking of the full LCB, we've had a couple of changes that have caused us to need to reschedule both your May 15th and August 14th meetings for the LCB. And this is due to scheduling conflicts with our officers. And since we will not have any elected officials who would be available for those two meetings, we need to look for other times that we would be able to have those. And Rachel is currently working on that. And she will confirm first with the elected officials to make sure that they're able to attend. And then she'll reach out to the rest of the LCB to ensure we reach a quorum. This afternoon, Rachel and I will be conducting a new member orientation with two of the last two members who were appointed to the LCB. Mayor Jackie Espinosa and Ms. Tashara Cooper were appointed, as you know, last month, and so we'll be doing their orientations this afternoon. Lastly, I need to inform you that last week I got an email from Mr. Norm Hickling, who informed me of his decision to retire from Lynx. And so his last day with Lynx is going to be May 16th. And he had already let me know that he wouldn't be able to be with us today, but was planning to be with us at that May 15th meeting. But given that that meeting is being rescheduled, we will arrange to pass along our accolades and thank yous to Mr. Hickling in a different way. And with that, Mr. Chairman, unless there are questions, we're prepared to move forward with the agenda. Again, noting that the CTC evaluation results will be postponed unless you are insistent upon hearing it twice. I mean, with that, we're prepared to move forward. And if we can, Mr. Chair, we can move to Rachel with the confirmation
Yes.
form.
Rachel, please see
Thank
if there's
you.
a quorum.
Baldwin,
Present?
Campbell,
Present.
Gill,
Present.
Olson,
Present.
Zubritsky.
Present.
Mr. Chairman, that concludes the roll call. We do have a quorum.
Thank you. We will now hear public comments on the action items. We ask that you provide your name and address for the record, and please hold your comments to 2 minutes or less. If any member of the public wishes to comment and are joining us virtually, please use the raise hand function and you will be recognized. If you are joining us using your phone only, please dial *9 on your phone keypad to be recognized. Do we have anyone joining us virtually who would like to make a comment?
We have no hands raised on the virtual side.
Do we have any members of the public attending in person who wish to make a comment?
We've received no comments.
Were any comments submitted in writing prior to the meeting?
None were submitted, Mr. Chair.
Can we do the action item?
Yes, we do have a quorum, so we can move forward with action items. Thank you.
Yes.
First action item is review and recommendation of annual rate calculation worksheet.
And Mr. Chair, as mentioned previously, this item has been submitted to the Commission for Transportation Disadvantaged and acknowledged and approved for your recommendation today.
Are there any questions on
Yes.
members, from members? Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? This is a voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are there any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. The second item, B, review and recommendation of updates to the Health Services Transportation Plan.
All right. Good morning, everyone. This is Cody Johnson. I'm a transportation planner at Lynx. And today I'm going to discuss two plans with you. First, the Human Services Transportation Plan, so our major update with that. And as you recall, we did give an initial presentation at the last QATF and TDLCB meetings. We had a representative from Benesh, our consultant that's helped us with this project for the better part of the year, Sarah. So I'm going to go over that presentation again, and then we'll be seeking a recommendation for approval at the TDLCB. So my presentation will look at the coordinated plan, kind of give a general overview, look at the Lynx service area, talk about the public outreach efforts that we've conducted throughout the creation of this plan. And then we'll go over the needs assessment, the strategies we've identified to address some of the unmet transportation needs, and go over quickly our implementation plan and then our next steps. So the Human Services Transportation Plan, or the HSTP, or you might just hear it referred to as just the coordinated plan, is a plan that ensures that transportation services are effective, efficient, and responsive to seniors and individuals with disabilities, along with other transportation disadvantaged populations within our service area. And it's necessary by the Federal Transit Administration for any projects that are seeking federal Section 5310 program funding. It's updated every 3 years. So our last update was completed in 2022. So what is a coordinated plan? So the coordinated plan has two main sections, our service assessment along with an action plan. Now, our service assessment, we look at existing link services, our fixed route neighbor link service, our access link service, to see how it is currently servicing our transportation disadvantaged populations in the region. And when we then work with our stakeholders through meetings, we had some one-on-one interviews to identify some unmet transportation needs within our system. And then we kind of take all those unmet needs and create an action plan that has strategies and specific action items to address those needs. So just briefly, our link service areas. So links, we do provide, fixed route service, neighbor link on-demand zones throughout the region, access links, and our van pool service. We have a population of about 2.29 million in the area. 13.3% are over the age of 65. 11.7% have a disability. 12.7% are low income. 4.8% have no access to a vehicle. And 6% are veterans. And you can see compared to some of the Florida statistics there. So one of the things we did do since our last presentation to you all is we did go back and look at paratransit trips specifically, where they were going to and from throughout the region. And we actually identified some areas where there is high concentration of paratransit trip activity that Lynx's fixed route service and neighbor link service currently does not serve. And so you can kind of see through the map here, these are areas where there's a lot of paratransit activity, but there's no fixed route service. And so if we ever want to make any sort of expansion in the future, these are areas we might want to focus on. And you can see these areas are the ones you probably expect. They're areas that are fast growing. Horizons West, Lake Nona, down in Osceola County near St. Cloud. So, and then this was just a different way to look at it. These are actually the trips where they were going to and from. And we kind of list a little bit more in the draft plan we provided for you. So even though it isn't required by the FTA, we did conduct a peer review. We looked at several agencies, both in the state of Florida and out of the state of Florida, to look at how they run their Section 5310 programs, to see if we can figure out any best practices or any lessons learned. We looked at 4 different agencies in the state of Florida. So, Breeze out of Sarasota, Pinellas Transit Authority out of St. Petersburg, Miami-Dade Transit, and then also Votran out of Daytona, and then VIA out of Sacramento, California, RTC out of Las Vegas, and then also the Kansas City Transit Authority. We picked these based on population served. Is it comparable to us? And then also the size of the region in which they serve. And then also, are those agencies direct recipients of Section 5310 funding, or are they indirect recipients? So we're direct recipients of 5310 funds, so we wanted to really look at that. And these are some of the lessons that we learned, so some highlights: ensure that paratransit, app provides a log for users to track previous trips and manage rider information, as well as access to real-time data. Implement one app that accommodates paratransit and MOD trip reservations. Partner with third-party operators or rideshare companies to offer same-day reservations for paratransit users. Implement a taxi rideshare subsidy program for flexible on-demand trips to designated locations or activity centers. So some good best practices there. Some of our outreach. So we did conduct a lot of outreach for the plan. We conducted an onboard NeighborLink survey. So over a 2-week period, we went out and rode all of our NeighborLink vehicles, and we got over 152 responses to figure out how people are using the service, where they're going to and from in each zone. And then we also asked some qualitative questions as well. How they like the service. Did it pick them up on time? Do they feel safe? And so a lot of the results are in the draft plan. Overwhelmingly, a lot of people really appreciated the service. They did say that there was some, they wish it was on time a little bit more and easier to access, but overall, people liked the service. But We did conduct 2 stakeholder working group meetings. I'll go over that in the next couple slides. We did review the 2023-2024 Access Links customer satisfaction survey we completed last year. And then we also attended the last November TDLCB public meeting to hear insight from the public on transit in the region. So like I said, we held 2 stakeholder working group meetings. We had participation from 19 different organizations. 19 different organizations. They ranged from representatives from county departments to nonprofits in which their clients are represented within the plan. And we also had participation from FDOT and Metro Plan Orlando as well. So our first stakeholder working group, we had 10 participants from 9 organizations. We first kind of presented what the HSTP is, and then we also asked them some pretty basic polling questions. What are some of the unmet transportation needs in the region? How should 5310 funding be prioritized? What transportation needs do you have for your clients, et cetera? And you can kind of see some of the answers down here, and they're long wait times, financial costs, same-day scheduling, et cetera. During that stakeholder working group meeting, we did 2 activities with the stakeholders. So our first activity was just the points of interest activity, where we put maps in front of them and said, where are some high activity areas in the region that you're currently servicing your clients that maybe aren't served with transit service. And so we got a lot of really good locations. And then we also conducted a project prioritization activity where we actually gave each 2 groups a budget. And they came up with different projects themselves and then assigned kind of like a money value to each of those projects to see what they would spend their money on. And you can see between the 2 groups, they kind of came up with very similar projects, right? More vehicles for Vanpool, new buses, marketing available services, NeighborLink awareness, bus stop improvements, et cetera. And then in November, we did a virtual meeting where we had 17 participants from 15 organizations. And and during this meeting, we really gave them kind of our results of our service assessment, and gave them some draft strategies that we came up with and kind of ran it by them and see what their thoughts were on that. And then we also wanted to make sure we got their opinions on a prioritization process. So in our action plan, how would they prioritize these projects? So through our service assessment and our stakeholder meetings, we came up with these general unmet transportation needs throughout the region. And they are general, and I'll go in the next few slides why they are. But you can see service, same-day scheduling for Access Links users, service expansion to key points of interest, reliable on-time service, later link service, real-time tracking, more marketing outreach, affordable transportation. And they're general because we then took these unmet needs and created strategies, specific strategies with specific action items to address them. And we started by looking at the strategies we identified in 2022 when we last conducted a major update to the plan to figure out, which ones were completed. And we found it was 12 strategies were actually completed since the last plan. So which ones were completed that we needed to carry over, maybe modify a little bit, and then also go through the reprioritization process. And these strategies focused on the needs specifically for individual seniors and individuals with disabilities, but they do have a positive impact to the broader public as well. So these were the strategy categories we came up with. You can see improved service efficiency, coordination, increase accessible infrastructure, deliver new or extended services, enhance customer service experience, expand access to reliable and accessible fleets, increase financial accessibility to services, improve efficiency through technology, increase marketing, distribution of information, and identify other funding opportunities. And then through our stakeholders, we did create this prioritization process. So they came up with 6 general categories in which these strategies kind of fell under, these action items fell under. So public support, is it a quality of life improvement? Does it increase connectivity? Is it financially feasible? Is it easy to implement? Impact of user safety. And then they assigned a percentage for every single one of those. And that's how we created a prioritization process. And these are the results of that. So you look at it high, medium, low. You can think about it high as kind of near term, medium is midterm 3 to 7 years, and then low is 7 years and beyond. Now, yeah, we do divvy it up between high, medium, and low priority. Doesn't mean that the low priorities aren't as important. They are, and they aren't solid dates. We work on these strategies and these priorities as they come. So. All right, now I won't go through every single one because you've already heard this before, but these are some of the near-term action items that we came up with, 1 to 3 years. So coordinate with other internal, external modes of public transit services to develop a system for coordination of shared capabilities and schedules, enhance amenities with existing stops near senior communities, medical facilities, provide first mile, last mile services to new geographic areas through taxi, van pool, schedule sensitivity training, a refresher course for Access Links employees with a focus for handling customer phone calls and assisting with boarding and unloading vehicles. And then these were some of our midterm, so 4 to 6 years. Allow human services transportation providers to the ability to purchase replacement or expansion vehicles where the agency van pool program is not practical for them. That was a big one by a lot of our nonprofit transportation providers. Increase affordability of transit for seniors and individuals with disabilities. Just a few more. Allow Access Links customers to select their preferred means of communication. Automate Section 5310 grant application process to be submitted through a web portal or grant management web application. And these were some of our long-term ones. So continue to promote training information of human services agencies, notify the public that service is available if needed. And then also seek funding opportunities through the U.S. Department of Transportation competitive grant program for funding innovative projects for the region, particularly opportunities to use on-demand information and real-time data for transportation solutions. All right, so next steps. So we did give, like I said, we did give initial presentations to the QATF TDLCB back in January and February. We also gave you a draft copy of that working copy of the HSTP. We gave an informational presentation on the update to our oversight committee just last week on April 23rd. And then we are going to seek for approval today, recommendation for approval today, and then present at the next TDLCB.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson.
That's it. Yeah. If you have any questions, please.
Are there any questions from the members?
I have one. Hold on, I gotta go back to find the one I had.
Chair recognizes Ms. Ferry.
Good morning. Thank you for
Hey.
your presentation. I actually have two.
Sure.
I'm just curious, how did you decide who to peer review for best practices?
Yeah, sure. So it was based on a couple criteria. So we looked at population of each of those agencies, how many people they serve in the region, and then also the area, the size of the area in which they serve, because we are a big, we cover a large square miles. So we looked at that, and we also looked at their 5310 program, if they were direct recipients of 5310 funding, or if they were indirect recipients of 5310 funding.
Okay.
So we tried to look at agencies that were also direct recipients.
Okay.
Because that's what we are. There were several that were indirect, but we just wanted to take a look at them. And then also one of the other things we looked at were the comparable in terms of, we're a tourist driven economy, so we looked at like Las Vegas and Miami-Dade Transit have similar tourist-based economies. So.
Perfect. That's what I was wondering
Yeah.
as far as how comparable it was.
Mhm.
Thank you for that. And then my second one for the stakeholders meeting, and I don't know if we asked this before. I saw, and it went quickly, and I was just sitting down, and I apologize for being late. I was lost in the garage. I saw Orange County government.
Yeah.
Was Osceola and Seminole represented as well?
I don't believe we had representatives specifically from, we did send them information. We did have representatives we sent information to for Seminole County and Osceola County. I don't think we had a specific representative from those county.
Okay. I asked because the needs are very different in the
Yeah.
Tri-County area.
Mhm.
So I think it's important to ensure that at least though
Right.
all counties are represented, but those are my questions. Thank you.
Right. We did have a representative from the Osceola County Council on Aging.
Aging,
So,
okay.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Chair recognizes Ms. Baldwin.
Okay, when you said under prioritization results, increase accessible infrastructure, can you tell me what that is? I think I know, but please tell me.
Yeah, I mean, it's to make it easier for, individuals with disabilities or seniors to access our system. So, things like good bus stops with good amenities, shelters, benches. Is it connected via sidewalk? Are there good crosswalks nearby? Just anything that would help accessibility onto our system. So,
Very good.
mhm.
Any further questions from the members? Okay, hearing none. Is there a motion?
So moved. Marilyn Baldwin.
Is there a second?
Ikaberry, I second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. This is a voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are there any opposed? The motion passes.
Thank you all. And we'll go ahead and just jump in to our
Okay, yeah, this
Yeah.
item C, review and recommendation of draft TDSP minor update. Also, Mr. Cody Johnson.
All right, so we'll go ahead and just jump in. So this is our update to our Transportation Disadvantage Service Plan, or TDSP. So what is the TDSP? Well, we give this presentation every single year. So it's a transportation plan that reflects Lynx's commitment to maintain and improve transportation services for the transportation disadvantaged and serves as a framework for performance evaluation. Now, you might be thinking, what's the difference between the HSTP and the TDSP? Because they sound relatively similar, and they are. The big difference is that in the TDSP is a document that's required specifically by the state, by the Florida Commission for Transportation Disadvantaged, while the HSTP was a federally required document. And the TDSP more so focuses on the goals, objectives of our Access Links paratransit service. So the HSTP more so focused on the system in its entirety. TDSP more so focuses on paratransit and Access Links. And it's a 5-year planning guide. We have a major update every 5 years. Our last one was completed in 2023. And we do minor updates every year just to give you the status of some of our goals and objectives we identified in the major update. And it contains 3 main sections: our development plan, our service plan, and our quality assurance plan. So our development plan contains service area demographics of the region, our population forecast for the transportation disadvantaged, our identification of needs, barriers, coordination, goals, and objectives, and then also our implementation plan. Now, on an annual basis, when we complete our minor updates, we mostly update the service area demographics subsection and the goals and objectives section. So, we look at the demographics and see how the population has changed year over year, and our TD population in the region. And then we also, like I said, we go through our goals and objectives and give kind of a status update for each of those and how we've been working on them over the previous year. And so I'm going to go page by page. It's going to be kind of dry, but so on intro page 6 through 9, we updated the transportation disadvantaged local coordinating board roster to reflect March of 2025. On page 10, intro page 10, we updated the latest with the latest TDLCB certification from March 2025. On page 7 through 8, we updated Lynx organizational charts to reflect March 2025. Then on page 9, we updated the consistency review of other plans section, where we added the latest Lynx transportation development plan from March 2025 and the latest Metro Plan Orlando Transportation Improvement Program, or the TIP, for fiscal years 2024, 25, and 2028 to 29. On page 12, we updated the Lynx network service area map to reflect our last major update from December 2024. On pages 13 through 17, we updated the Lynx service area demographics tables and population and TD population tables reflecting the 2023 American Community Survey. On page 18, we updated the Link Service Area Housing Unit Characteristics Table, reflecting the 2023 American Community Survey. And then on page 22, we updated the labor force and unemployment table from December 2024. On page 23, we updated the Access Links Trips by Purpose table from calendar year 2024. On page 24, we updated the Access Links Top 20 Trip Generators table from calendar year 2024. And then finally, from pages 33 to 37, we updated the status column for each of the goals, objectives, and strategies. And so I'm going to highlight some of the statuses here. And in the draft plan, they goes over all the goals, but I'm going to just highlight some here for you. So for goal number 1, transition paratransit customers to the most appropriate mode of transportation. Our main target with that was to increase the number of TDM clients enrolled in our Access Plus program. Our Access Plus program allows individuals that are, that take paratransit to allow them to ride our fixed route service for free, along with another person to help them, navigate the system and learn about it. In 2024, there were 41,696 Access Plus trips, or approximately 474 per month. This is actually up from 2023's average of 2,366 trips. So we've been really successful at transitioning folks, at least trying out that program. Goal number 2, customer outreach and education, preparation of instructional videos on new customer-facing technology. So as you all know, we did release a new Paul Pass app late last year. We did create some educational videos for that and how to use it. In December 2024, it's available on Lynx's website and social media. And then we participated in at least 2 community events each quarter to educate the region on mobility resources. Those are some of the events that we attended throughout the year. And then some of these, so maintain on-time performance of 90%. We did conduct an annual review that shows an on-time performance of 91.3%. And so we'll focus on keeping that up because we are meeting that metric there. Maintain average call hold times to 3 minutes or less. We do have a call hold time right now of 5 minutes, 36 seconds. We'll continue to monitor and improve those hold times. Develop an approach for assessing the return on investment of different fare payment options for paratransit users. So like I said, we did release that new Paul Pass app, which was big for our riders. And then our service plan. So our service plan has our service standards, our fleet inventory, eligibility policy, monitoring procedures, and our rate structure justification. Really the only 2 things we touch on a minor update are our fleet inventory. So we just reflect what vehicles we have in our system now, and then our rate structure justification. The other ones are done during our major update. So on page 52, we updated our coordinated system service providers as fiscal year 2024. On page 64 through, what's the typo, 66, we updated paratransit NeighborLink vehicle inventory tables for fiscal year 2024. And then on page 70, we updated the new rates that we just recommended to approve. Then our last section is our quality assurance section. It shows results from our CTC evaluation and then also our triennial Florida Commission of Transportation Disadvantage Assurance review. Our most recent CTC evaluation was completed last year, although there's one we're presenting the results next meeting, spanning fiscal year 2023. And then our most recent triennial review was in 2021. No findings were identified. That's completed every 3 years by FDOT. And the next one is scheduled to begin this month. And then finally, our attachments. So attachment 6, we updated the grievance procedures from those approved on February 15th, the TDLCB meeting. Attachment 8, we updated the Link System Safety Program Plan from December 2024. Then attachment 9, we updated the trip rate calculation, the trip rate justification worksheets. And then attachment 11, we added the CTC evaluation documentation from fiscal year 2023. And that's it for the minor updates.
Thank you.
If you have any questions, please let me know.
Yeah. Chair recognizes Charlotte Campbell for questions from the members.
You spoke briefly about the Paw Pass, and I have a question because when I tried to get tickets a couple of weeks ago, we were told that they were no longer having the ticket system, that we had to go through the mobile Paw Pass. And then so I am not very technically,
Yeah.
anyway, we then had to go through the Paw Pass system. And I've since, my phone now is now regulated to that. But I wanted to find out, is this going to be a permanent system that is to be used by all of the riders? Or is this just for now and then going back to the ticket system? Because, I just want to find out whether the next time I have to order,
Yeah.
the passes, whether I continue to go the mobile, the online way, or do I then get the physical tickets?
Mm.
Because it didn't come easily to me
Sure.
to
Yeah.
use the online system. And I just wanted to find out whether this is temporary or what is it
Sure. Yeah. From my understanding, it's going to be permanent.
going to be permanent?
So yeah, we tried to go towards the phone as much possible for our passengers. We do understand that it might be difficult for some, and we've done our best to post a lot of videos, instructional videos. We've had more service reps downstairs at Link Central Station to help our customers as much as possible. But yeah, from my understanding, it's a permanent.
Permanent?
Yeah.
To go the online way?
Yeah. Mhm.
I see. Okay. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Ms. Nika Berry.
Thank you. I was trying to search for the response to this question, but I didn't find it.
Mhm.
So under the development plan, the first objective, you had educate new and existing paratransit risers, ...
Mhm.
So, and it increased. So how did you all go about educating them?
Yes, I mean, that might be something that's better spoken by mobility services. But question, can you answer that? It's all right. I can, so are you talking specifically about the Access Plus program?
It was, oh, it's right there.
Yeah.
Yes, here, because it says that the objective was to educate new and existing paratransit rider, increase the number of TD clients, but I'm asking, how did you all educate? Like, is that, what happened? Because it increased, which is good,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
how did we do that?
Yeah, so we attended those programs. I don't know if there's.
TD Riders are not part of the Access Plus program as of today. We're introducing that as a new program.
Salita, can you please come to the mic with people? Thank you. I know that's your favorite place to be, but thank you.
Good morning. A statement was made as regard to TD Riders being part of the Access Plus program. At this time, they are not. There is discussion to extend it to the TD Riders. Right now, it's only an ADA program where they get to ride different other modes of transportation free with a companion if they get on the fixed route system. TD Riders are not offered that at this time.
But the objective though is still educate new. So how did we, or we don't know that today, we just don't. And I'm okay with that. We can find out. Okay.
We have an internal discussions of how to expand it to them.
Okay.
Because if you really look at it, most TD riders do not have access to a bus stop
Okay.
right there. So we're trying to figure out how to get them from maybe such as the neighbor link, get them from their place of residence to a bus stop where they can also take advantage of the program.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
Any further questions from members on this topic?
I have a question.
Chair recognizes Mr. Zabriskie.
Yes, it says in the attachments, updated the link system safety plan documentation. Can you explain what that is?
Yes, that's done by our safety team at Links, and it's just a general plan discussing the safety of of Links kind of in its entirety. This it kind of discusses emergency procedures for its employees, but also its passengers as well. So it's just a general safety document, and it's a requirement to include that in the TDSP as well.
Okay, is there a way that we could see it, just read over it?
Sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just curious about that
Absolutely.
and what it entails.
Yeah, I can send it over to you.
Thank you.
Further questions? Okay. Do I have a motion?
I move that we improve the TDSP minor update.
Do I have a second?
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, this is a voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? None opposed.
Thank you.
All right, and Mr. Chair, we will follow up with the Links team to get more information on how they go about educating the passengers of that training and that opportunity for them to transition off of the Access Links to Access Plus Plus. So we'll provide more information. We'll get the answer to that question.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure. You're asking what is the plus
Yeah,
plus?
yeah.
Salida, is there one of you who can share what the
Not heard of that,
Access Plus Plus program is? We have a question. What that program actually is that for is that the program where they're no longer using? Okay.
Thank you. The Access Plus Plus program was created, I believe, in 2018, where ADA riders who are capable of also riding other modes of transportation, such as our big fixed route buses and or neighbor lane, can enter that program and get an ID where they ride free with a companion free, which eliminates some of the trips on paratransit that they don't need to actually take on paratransit. That program is very successful. We have quite a few. I don't have the number off top, but I believe the number that's in this in this PowerPoint is that number for ADA.
Chair recognizes Ms. Baldwin.
Okay. You said that in that program, those riders get a photo ID.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there any plan later to provide photo ID for other Access Links riders?
Discussion has been in play with that. We're looking at the financial impact for that too,
Right.
and actually how we can extend it to distribution to every customer, whether we bring them into the terminal to take their photo ID, or we set up places around the Tri-County area where we position ourselves for them to come there. So we're working out logistics now.
Very good.
That's it. We can move on to presentations, CTC evaluation results, Ms. Virginia.
Yeah.
Virginia.
And Mr. Chairman and members, again, we're recommending that this be postponed to your next meeting. But what I can share with you is that your evaluation of the system is consistent with what we heard from the riders in terms of your concerns, citing that call hold times need to be improved. Wait times need to be improved. The GPS system needs to be improved. And interestingly, there was some additional comments from the riders having to do with driver behavior and customer service, where there are concerns that have been raised with the need for sensitivity training. And so much of what you identified in your evaluation closely aligned with what we've heard from them in the need that we are hearing the same concerns year after year, and that we need to come up with some strategies to meet those. And hopefully some of these that have been identified today can be used. So we'll be prepared to give you a full presentation at the May meeting. But that's where we are. We did get 101 responses. We were trying to get over 100. So we got 101 responses from those riders. And about 40% of those riders felt that the service has stayed the same, that there has not been much improvement. But they, and 14% felt that it has gotten worse. And so we'll share more insights at the next meeting so that you don't have to watch this movie twice. All right. Thank you. And I would like to, if I may, Mr. Chair, I did get an email also from Bob Melia, whose comments as a writer and a member of this body expressed concerns, and he wanted someone to bring up the issue of the long call hold times. He said that he had spent 43 minutes on the phone to set up a ride for the next day. And earlier in the week, he held for over 28 minutes on another time. And he was on hold for over 33 minutes. And his response was, "This is ridiculous." He is able to work from his desk and sit and wait, but he is concerned with how customers and other riders who do not have the luxury of sitting and waiting, how it may be impacting them. So there's concern again for the amount of time spent waiting on the calls.
Chair recognizes Ms. Baldwin.
I'm concerned, Mr. Chairman and staff, that could these long hold times be due to the fact that folks are working from home and maybe they're not being as attentive as they would be if they were in the office? This is not good.
Well, Norm would normally be here to respond to those questions. And his presentation is in your agenda packet, the one that he's going to be making. So those slides are there. I can only give my assessment of what I think it is. It's just the number of calls that the high call volume causes the callers to get into those queues we've heard about before. And many of them who are calling to find out where's my ride are clogging up that call log, and that causing the time to take a little bit longer. And of course, they're having to dispose of the calls. You don't just get on the phone and someone wants to know, where's my ride, or I'm scheduling a ride for another day. Once those calls, they take time to get through to the end of that call. And so there's the wait as well. We've gotten some responses from our riders who have suggested some additional improvements that might be made. And one of those that kind of jumped out at me was knowing where you are in line, in a queue. If you're on the call, where am I? Am I caller 1? Am I caller 10? Or having a call back option. So many other companies have that feature to where if I call in and I select an option to receive a call back, my place in line will be held, but I'll get a call back. So those are some of the features that the riders are recommending be looked at as well. So I don't know if one of the access links people want to come forward, if I've kind of given the synopsis of what may be happening with the calls? Or, yeah, okay. We'll leave it at that and get a more definitive response, again, from, Norm, and maybe invite Lindy as well to come to the next meeting.
I will have a response to that. I have a response, because if you look at the report, 4,000 more calls came in during the month of March. And if the employees didn't increase, then that would definitely be a challenge for them if the number of employees didn't increase. So I think taking that into consideration as well. But it was 48,000 in February, 52,000 in March. Average speed of answer is 4 minutes, 13 seconds. But again, if you're still working with the same number of employees, but receiving that number of calls, that would definitely cause a delay. So I think that's something to take into consideration.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Charlotte Campbell.
I also have a comment to make that, I mean, I'm a regular Access Links rider. And I have a problem with the length of time that we have to wait when we are just trying to find out how, the ETA of our, and, sometimes you're waiting the same length of time as when you're trying to, order a trip, trying to schedule a trip. And I find that there should be some way that it should be a separate line for that, rather than bundling everything together with when you're trying to schedule a trip. It should not be, the wait time should not be the same. I have a great problem with that, because I've had to wait such a long time just to find out how far away my trip is. And I think this is something that Access Links should look into to try to rectify, to make it easier on the riders, not to have to wait such a long time. That's my comment.
Chair recognizes Ms. Berry.
So my question, because I thought you pressed something different for status. Is that correct? So that would be a different.
You press a different, a number, but it doesn't make it any shorter. You're still waiting a long time before somebody answers and tells you, well, your ride is 5 minutes away or 10 minutes away. It seems to be the same line. I don't know, but
Okay.
your wait time is very long.
Ms. Kent, how long would you, just if you can remember, like the length of time you may have?
I would say, I mean, I've waited 10 minutes sometimes, and by that time, you're not sure, should I somehow get somebody else to order another ride for me? I mean, you just don't know what to do. You're in limbo, wondering if your ride is coming or what. And I just find that that's not acceptable.
Thank you.
I wonder if there's any difference at a different time of the day.
Thanks. I think I said it.
Morning, but.
And Ms. Baldwin, I think that has been shared here, that there are better times to call. But if you need a ride, I'm not sure if that helps to know that if I call at 10 o'clock, that it's gonna get through.
With the ETA, you have booked your ride, and for some reason they're late or they haven't. And I find that mostly when you have the bus, with the accessing bus. You serve is pretty good, but it's the time of waiting when you're waiting on a bus. It's different.
One of the things that Virginia said was those people calling to find out where their ride is probably what's jamming up the line. I know it's hard not to ask, where's my ride over and over, but when you have thousands of riders, everybody calling in to get an answer to where their ride is could really crush the system. It's a hard thing to sell.
You should have a separate line, or, some other way of, so that does not happen.
We'll pass those comments along again to, and the team is here. Certainly all around some very difficult things to consider and very valid points. So we will pass that along to the staff and see what can be done. Mr. Zabriskie might have.
Chair recognizes Mr. Zabriskie.
I just thought for a long time, I've been coming to these meetings and, the 5-minute average call waiting time is not exceedingly long. And that would be an average, I suppose. I know the goal is 3 minutes, but 5 minutes isn't too much longer than 3 minutes overall. But then the question I have is, what does this data dispersion really look like? I mean, you can have an average that's 5 minutes, but what are the 60%, 80%, 90% look like? Do we actually have a very wide dispersion where some of these calls are taking 15, 20, 30 minutes of hold time, and that's what our clients out there are coming back and telling us? Or is it, but it's all averaging out to 5 minutes, and some are, maybe only on hold for 30 seconds. It's just very hard to say when all you look at as an average. There's other descriptive ways of looking at that whole data set that maybe that would give us a clearer picture of what's going on and ways to improve it. Just an idea.
And
Thanks.
Mr. Chair, if I might add, some of what comes back with our rider survey, even though we ask the riders to consider the rides over the previous year, much of what we hear is the frustration that they are experiencing now. Right now, they don't care about last year. They're telling us what happened last week or yesterday when they're responding. And I believe that there is another opportunity in terms of education with access links, and that is to educate all of the access links riders on the ability to book their travel and their trips on the web. But what happens is that they don't trust it. They want to talk to a person as opposed to booking it online, because they don't trust that if I book it, it's really going to be booked. So they really feel like having a person on the phone will guarantee that their trip is going to be there. But if there's some type of way that access links can spend just as much time and be just as successful as they are with getting riders from the ADA to Access Plus Plus, to get the TD riders to book their trips online, that may help as well. I don't know what the answer is. I'm just looking at, possibilities as you are. And that is the purpose of this group, is to recommend those improvements that might come about as a result of what we hear from the clients.
If I may have a
Chair
comment.
recognizes Ms. Charlotte Campbell.
One has to also think of the fact that many of the riders may be blind. How are they going to, they cannot go online and see, if you're dealing with somebody who has to have an oral conversation or verbal conversation with somebody to get their answer, and maybe too disabled to access it through computer or a phone.
Right.
So this has to be addressed for all people, along with people with disabilities who might be so disabled that they're not able to do that, or blind.
Yes, right. Point taken. And we do understand that, and we wouldn't get 100%.
Right.
And those who need that extra assistance would be able to receive, that's still an option. The option wouldn't go away for them to be able to call and talk to a person. However, those who are able to use the computer, laptop, phone to book their own trips by going to access links online, that web access, if they're able to, and can, get some experience under their belt where they can trust it, then that would free up phone opportunities for the others. So.
It just has to be reliable. You
Correct.
have to be able to trust it.
Mhm.
Well, certainly Mr. Bob Melia is not the person you want to leave hanging on the line. Too bad you can't say, oh, who's calling? It's Bob. We better get this one right away.
Oh, no, we want that to be available for all of the riders, but I understand what you're saying.
Absolutely.
It has to be there for everyone. Come on, if somebody is working, I think what Bob was trying to say, and they're not in an office where they can call, maybe they also are doing customer service. They don't have that kind of luxury or time.
Absolutely not. Nobody has a half hour to just sit around and do nothing. All right, any more discussion on that item? That for not presenting it, it was certainly a hot item.
Yeah.
For discussion. Okay, should I talk about general information or do you want to do that?
Yes, once again, this is Mr. Hickling's presentation that he will present in May, and we will ask him to possibly, or whoever will be presenting at that time, to address these other questions that have come about today, to include that in the presentation.
Thank you. Upcoming meetings of interest, Metro Plan Orlando Board, Wednesday, May 14th at 9 a.m. Transportation Disadvantage Local Coordinating Board, Thursday, May 15th at 10 a.m., subject to change.
It will change. We're looking
Yes.
for another date, and we will hold you for a quorum.
Okay. All right. Now at the members' comments, are there any committee members who have any final comments? Or have they all been made already? They've all been made, okay. We are now at the second opportunity for public comments. Comments heard at this point in the meeting are more general in nature and similar to the first. Comments may be made in person or online. Members of the public joining us virtually who wish to speak will use the raise hand feature on the Zoom screen. If attending by phone, you can hit *9 to raise your hand and request to be recognized. When you're called, staff will unmute your microphone and will ask you to state your name and contact information for the record. Is there anyone online wishing to make comment?
Mr. Chairman, we do have a hand raised online with it's just a phone number, so we don't have a name, but we can recognize them to speak.
Okay, please do.
Good morning. This is Tashara. Unfortunately, I was not able to be there in person. I'm one of the TDLCB at-large members. Couple comments and questions. The first one is related to the PAW Pass, the move to that. For clarification, is the move going to be for everyone having to utilize the PAW Pass to make ridership transactions when utilizing access links? Like basically no tickets anymore?
So Tashara, we will get the, what was presented earlier is that there is a move to PAW Pass that is going to be permanent. And we will send out information to this body. I'll get with Salida and we'll send out information to this body to clarify further.
So as part of the assessment that was presented earlier, is part of that also like from a usability standpoint as it relates to the various individual differences that we have with our riders, some who, may have vision, some who have cognitive in terms of interfacing with this PAW Pass. I know myself, I've had issues like getting it set up. So I haven't actually utilized it when I've gone into a vehicle. But I'm just wondering for those who have challenges and as Ms. Campbell stated, just not being technology. I just think that we have to consider just with technology in general, maintaining the human in the loop. We got to probably maintain the ticket in the loop, otherwise making it a little bit more accessible. I don't know if it can be made easier to make those payments using some kind of bar scan or something, but that's going to be a challenge for many riders. Also with the booking trips online, in the past I've done that, and that's not been very good in the sense of it seems as though there's a lot of back-end intervention when you do make those rides, meaning changes to your trip in the past without knowledge. So I ended up abandoning that, utilizing that. I did try to use it quite frequently in the past upon its implementation, but I abandoned that just because there was too much intervention later. I guess with staff making changes to your rides, and a lot of times without knowledge. So that's something to consider.
Okay. And Mr. Chair and members, Tashara is a member at large on the LCB. She's one of the newer members. So her comments are not only from the public perspective, but also as a member of this body.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Tashara.
And then I just had one more thing. I'm sorry.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
From the tracking perspective, in terms of knowing your ETA, I don't know if this is from a cost perspective, those things would have to be considered in terms of implementing that. But just like when you order something in your packages, you're able to kind of track the status of your package. Not sure if that's something that's been already on the table for consideration or can be considered over.
Okay. Well, we will ask, again, the Lynx staff where they are. I know that they used to have a really good vehicle tracking app, which has, it was with the previous provider. And then there was also a double map that was in development. I don't know what happened with that, that technology. So we'll follow up and have responses to all of this at your next meeting.
Thank you.
And thank you.
Chair recognizes Ms. Baldwin.
Okay. I have one more question. It doesn't relate to anything that Ms. Cooper was saying, but in the media, the online newspaper last week, we saw that there were possibly going to be some changes with Seminole County and their fixed route transit. And I'm hoping that maybe when we have our LCB meeting next, that Lynx will be able to discuss this further with us, because I'd like to know how will it impact our Access Links door-to-door riders.
Thank you, Ms. Baldwin. I will raise that with both Seminole and Lynx and see if we can get someone. And for those of you who had not seen the coverage last week, Seminole County entertained a proposal to eliminate some of its Lynx routes and implement a micro transit model within Seminole County. And so they are looking to move towards that by October of this year. We don't have all the details on that yet, so we're still learning as well. And we will invite someone to come and present here, this body, especially if there is expected to be an impact. But just the pieces that I have seen, Seminole County feels as though it's going to be an enhancement to the ridership in Seminole.
Okay, moving on. Is there anyone from the public wishing to speak in person?
We've received no comments, Mr. Chairman.
Were any written comments provided prior to the meeting?
None received.
Thank you. If there is no further business, the Transportation Disadvantaged Local Coordinating Board meeting is
To be
whenever
determined.
we decide. I look forward to seeing you there. Thank you for joining us. Our meeting is adjourned.
Thank you. Yeah.